Welcome to the Can Wine Podcast, where we open cans of wine and talk about it. This is episode 21 of season 3, 92 running episodes. And this season we're bringing you the world in a can. And this episode we're headed south again, way south to the land that glaciers forgot, South Africa. But before we get there, let's talk about our wine nerd word of the week, which is finish. The final impression a wine gives after you swallow it. That's what they say. So this is sort of the aftertaste, if you will. And some wines have an interesting finish, some don't. And we have an interesting start to this episode. We have our intrepid wine explorer, Ken, who's in the great north of Ontario and has a can of our wine, and he's going to introduce it. Are you there, Ken?
I sure am.
What's our can of the week?
The can of the week is Lubabzi 250 ml red blend. And this wine has a 13.5% alcohol content.
That's right. And it's a blend. It's an 80% Shiraz, 15%, wish I could read it. It's a 15% Grenache and a 5% Mont Verde. So that's Grenache, I think it is, 15% Grenache. So that's what's in there, an excellent mixture. Now, the Lubabzi group is a production company that puts the wine together. They're 100% vegan. They give 1% of their produce to the planet. It's listed as climate neutral, and they give 50% of their profits back to the people that produce the wine. So very well recommended, if you will. Now, this also has 2.5 grams per liter of residual sugar, so it's not too sweet. And in the past, this has been a great wine for us. We had it I think we tried it in the 355 milliliter size, but this 250 milliliters is different and a different vintage. So it was actually our choice for our 1 year anniversary, which was in the second season, almost exactly a year ago. So here we are again, a year later with a different vintage, and it could be a good one. It has a 90 points rating by Suckling and a 92-point rating on a tasting panel. We got a rough connection, but you're so far north, it's crazy. Where are you today, Kenny?
I'm in northwestern Ontario, near the Ontario-U.S. border, near the state of Minnesota. I'm in a little community called Fort Francis. And not far from here is where I'm going to be instructing tomorrow at a First Nations community called Couchiching First Nation.
Oh, understood. And Fort Francis actually is a border town, if you will.
It's a border town, and what is, maybe you remember, what's on the other side of the border? What's on the U.S. side? What's the name of that town?
Rainy River, isn't it?
No, that's where I'm going in a few days' time. That's a little further west. Rainy River's on this side, and I think
International Falls.
International Falls. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the one that's. I could almost see it here across the border.
Yeah,
across the river.
I've ridden my motorcycle down there. It's a real nice place to go in the summer, but I'm assuming that it's colder than heck there right now.
Yeah, it's minus 32 here Celsius, so it's very cold, clear and cold. Nice thing about these extreme cold is that there's no snow because it's too cold to snow.
And minus 32 Celsius is almost minus 32 Fahrenheit, because at minus 40 they both even up.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. And then there's a crazy wind as well, and that wind just adds another whole new world to coldness and harshness and bitterness.
Well, I hope you're inside your room and you're ready to open a can of wine and talk about it, as we do here at the Canned Wine Podcast.
Sure am.
Okay, without any further ado, let's do that.
Looks nice.
That's great. What colors are you seeing there?
I'll yield to you. You're the color man.
I'm going to say ruby, a ruby color. And
I like that.
It's not as purplish as my last episode. That was the darkest dark I've seen in a red wine. They say I smell black fruits like plum. Could be fairly tannic. Let's have a sip. Maybe licorice taste. I don't taste roasted. I don't taste roasted sweet potatoes like they suggested, but maybe some people could. What are any tastes you're tasting there, Kenny?
Yeah, the licorice. I can taste the licorice. Yeah, my palate isn't as good as yours when it comes to tasting all these things. I just haven't acquired the skill. I think I spent too much time drinking it and not enough time savoring it.
Well, with 80% Shiraz, 15% Grenache, and 5% Mont Verde, that's a very flavorful taste. So you could get some interesting stuff there. Now, what would I pair this with? You could pair it with some sausage like you're going to, or dark chocolate. Lamb would be good. I had some venison earlier today that would go very well with this. Maybe some spiced meats, barbecue, anything like that. Maybe a taco. That's what they're recommending. Would you agree?
Yeah, all of the above sounds good.
Oh, that's great. Well, our shout out of the week goes to Vicky, a Spotify listener, and she enjoys listening to us on her way home from work. So good to see you at the conference, and it was funny to see somebody that was still listening on Spotify, because we have a lot of people watching us on YouTube. So this one's for Vicky, because we'll publish it on Spotify first, and I'm always excited to talk to listeners when we run into them, and she's keeping up on all the episodes, so that's great. And speaking of which, Spain is the number 3 wine producer in the world, and you're not only a contributor here, you're also a listener, so we thank you for getting that, and your swag is on its way, as we've done in the past with the canned wine toque and the other stuff that we've sent through to you. So thanks for getting that. Remember, if you're the first person that answers our head scratcher, we got something heading your way. So your question for this week is, are you ready for it?
Yes.
What is the primary grape variety in the Lubabzi red blend? Don't shout it out, Ken. You have to put that comment on YouTube or in Spotify. So we'll wait to see who gets that. And I've got a big pile of swag here sitting that I'm going to send out to them. So stay warm up there, Kenny. We sure appreciate you helping us out with this episode.
Always a pleasure speaking with you, Brad.
Enjoy that wine. I'm sure you will. And in closing, thank all of you for tuning in, whether it's Spotify, Instagram, YouTube. We're everywhere. And wherever we are, we open cans of wine and talk about it. Remember, as always, as you do, Kenny, to enjoy responsibly. Sit down in your hotel room, your home, wherever when your day is done, or you're ready to enjoy a can of wine. And don't drink and drive. The Canned Wine Podcast is a center...